Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bob Keyser. This is the Son of Man Urantia project. Today's episode is a special update. Most of you know that I'm writing from Ecuador. For the last couple of months, we've been having power outages across the country, up to 12 hours a day due to lack of rain. This weekend, the Latin American Summit is being held here in Cuenca. We have 15 heads of state and the King and Queen of Spain coming into town. So for at least the next few days, we living in the historic sector of town have power 24 hours a day while the rest of the country goes dark. Then, starting Monday, the power outages here in Cuenca restart. And I was just told that they are also going to be shutting off the water for a large portion of the day across the country. I'm hearing that this is going to go on until April. On top of all of this, we have a national strike starting on Wednesday. In the past, that has meant the indigenous people will mobilize across the country, and within 24 hours, the highways into the main cities will be blockaded, and the indigenous will hit the roads and start walking to Quito, the capital, where they surround the palace for the duration of the strike. The blockades stop gas, food, and other essentials from getting into the city. So it gets tense. And with the power and water outages this time around, it's bound to get more so. So everything on this end is getting done when it can be done. I appreciate your patience and hopefully your support. Speaking of which, the second edition of Son of Man Urantia is published and at the storefronts. This copy says second edition on the copyright page, so please do not confuse it with the prior false start. Those of you who did buy the first edition that still had typos in it, again, please let me know who you are, and I will refund you or replace it as soon as I can afford to do so. My apologies, but due to my situation down here, I decided to publish as I wrote in case something happened to me and I was unable to finish the project. At the start of this project, I said that I agreed with the statement that the most important knowledge we can acquire during this brief start in the flesh is that of the life and teachings of Jesus. After the intensity of the last 2 years, rewriting and editing the Son of Man Urantia multiple times, I can not only reaffirm that conviction, but further state that, in my opinion, our world has no chance of a just peace without enough people on the planet embracing the life and teachings of Jesus as put forth in the Urantia revelation. That said, I still have not come to a firm sense of whether or not I am supposed to rewrite Jesus' story for us here on the planet now, or if this effort is for the remnants of humanity that survive whatever horror we bring on ourselves. Regardless, over the course of the last 2 years, I recognized that certain events in my life, actually they were more like instantaneous moments of truth, clarity, and knowing that have never been forgotten, were in fact moment of contact with the spirit of truth in my mind. I cannot explain these experiences any other way. They remind me of the part in Jesus' story when Peter jumped up and said Jesus was the Son of the living God. And Jesus indicated that the only way he could have known that was through the Spirit of the Father resident in his mind telling him so. In other words, what Peter came to was beyond what Peter himself had the capacity to envision. Something extra from somewhere entered that experience. In my case, I'm talking about things like walking across the yard on the farm in Spain when I was 8 years old, and all of a sudden knowing that someone upstairs was watching me, and at the same time that I had something great to do later in life. At 10 years old, still on the farm in Spain, running from my friend Pablo, and in mid-stride, being asked in my mind, would you give your life for your mother? And before my foot hit the ground, it felt like I had reviewed 100 arguments either way and finally said yes. And many other premonitions happened up until 20 years later, when at the end of my rope with an incessant image of a axe over my head, and having almost killed a man in a drunken brawl the night before, I had my foxhole talk with God. I vowed to serve humanity as long as I was needed, if he would help me quit drinking. I turned my life around, and then, unexpectedly, within 6 months, I had the unsettling experience of no longer knowing who I was. I mean, it hit me all of a sudden when in my truck driving home from work one afternoon that everything from my beliefs in God, war, abortion, violence, raising our family, you name it, was up in the air. If something had an ethical angle to it, I was reforming it in my mind. It was scary. I realized I had changed. Well, no one else had, nor did they know that I had. And I was worried that I wouldn't know how to act if all of a sudden I was put into an ethical dilemma. Like, do I fight back or do I take the lick? That kind of stuff. Then came the Urantia revelation, and on the first reading, knowing then that I was going to rewrite that story of Jesus now. And all of this happened before entering college at 44 years old, which opened the door to moving to South America for a while, which was also a premonition from 15 years prior. Now, not to scare anyone, but part of that premonition was that the future for humanity was in the southern hemisphere because the north was going to wipe itself out. And by coming down here, I was leading the way for my family to follow when that time came. All I can conclude from these and many other similar events in my life is one of two things. That yes, there is a spirit of truth, felt as an absolute knowing of the truth in my mind that is bringing forth this stuff as needed. Or that we are all players, characters or personalities or algorithms in some kind of biocomputer, artificial or organic intelligence created world type of game program. There is simply too much that has happened in my experience that I cannot explain as imagination or coincidence. The gap between what was then and what was envisioned included too many coordinated steps too far into the future for me to have planned a journey, even if I had wanted to from the start. Yet, I knew the end from the beginning. And in no way am I saying that I am unique or special. I have a feeling most of you listening to this have also had these experiences throughout your lives. So, as far as I can tell, we are either being played and have limited ability to affect our existence, or we are the actual creator players manifesting our world, and we are expected to learn the rules of the game. I choose to believe the latter, if for no other reason than because I can. Anyway, since the whole purpose of this project is to spread the knowledge of the life and teachings of Jesus and the experiential process needed to obtain it, I thought it would help to relate a little of the personal side behind the Son of Man Urantia project. I feel that this effort now is in direct response to my conversation with God way back in the day. And I am committed to this being my life's work in the future, though there may be a break at some point if I have to give Caesar his due. If you find value in this project, your support is needed. Our situation on this end is critical. Donations will certainly be accepted, but I would also like to see you get something tangible for your help. The Son of Man Urantia storefront now has not only the PFDs for the Son of Man Urantia in both English and Spanish, but it also has hats, shirts, posters, calendars, and anything else I can think to come up with to sell. By purchasing a product, you get something for yourself. You help me keep us and 14 rescue animals fed, and you help out by advertising the project. And remember the PFDs of the Son of Man Urantia. Those are the cheapest and easiest way to actually get the life and teachings of Jesus in front of someone. And yes, in the beginning, we need to go to the people instead of them finding us. It's the world we've been given. So please, go to the Son of Man storefront and see all of the super cool items available. Finally, please know that I am working to find the proper line between the temporal and the spiritual with this project. I am not only an American who has served and whose father is inscribed on the Vietnam Memorial, but I believe America is essential to our world finding peace. We have a lot of hard conversations ahead of us, and without free speech, they cannot happen. If we fall, the world falls, and no amount of gnashing teeth will change that. I have volunteered to serve in the upcoming administration, and if called to do so, I will. In the meantime, if I get a bit mouthy at times on certain subjects, please forgive me and chalk it up to some long pent-up patriotism finally breaking free. But on the subject of pedophiles and those who harm the little ones, no apologies, no mercy. It's the only way I know how to tell who has the Spirit of God in them and who does not. And as far as I'm concerned, they should be hunted down and killed like rabid dogs. Okay, everyone, let's end it there on that fine note. You know the deal. Defend your liberty, because no one else will. Protect those innocent ones, yours and everyone else's. Get out there and find some way, somehow, to serve humanity for nothing more or less than just the sake of God. Godspeed, America. We're coming home. Bobby Keyser, out here.